Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. And I wanted to come on tonight and discuss something a little bit more dark. So, trigger warning, this is not for everybody. If you have hypersensitivities to abuse and primarily sexual abuse and rape, this is not your video. But I wanted to talk today about these topics in light of what is happening on the global stage with evil and ugly secrets finally coming to light. And it is something that is a topic that has played out in my own life for a very long period of time. And so I don't know if this video is going to actually make it to YouTube or not. If it does, then I've grown a pair, as they say, because this is serious stuff. Now, I want to talk about this in relation to secrets and why we keep secrets, particularly the secrets of abuse. And for me, I kept secrets because I was ashamed and I blamed myself. So shame and blame are two of the main causes of keeping secrets, as well as fear. Fear of authorities has played out in my life since I was very small. Because I was adopted into a household where narcissistic abuse was going down, I was indoctrinated to believe that going to the police or talking to counselors or talking to teachers was a bad thing to do. It would have dire consequences. The threat of those consequences ultimately would be that I would be removed from the home and put in an even worse environment, was the threat. So as a child, I developed a terrifying fear of authority. And the abuse that I had endured as a child was narcissistic in nature. It was physical, it was mental, it was psychological, same as mental, but it was definitely emotional. And that was enough to, in combination with, the constant being told and ridiculed, because I used to say things like, I'm going to call the Children's Aid Society, or I'm going to call social services, and I would get laughed at and then ridiculed and then told why these were very bad choices to make. So in my life, this fear, this core wound of fear of authority was pre-programmed into me. So the first time I was raped, I was 16 years of age. I was on my way home from going to a carnival, and I was walking by a neighbor's house, and they were about 4 or 5 years older than me. They were in their young 20s when I was 16, and they were like, come in, we're having a party. And of course, me being desperate to have attention and affection and primarily just attention, and attention from anyone was good. I went into this party as somebody who was very underage and innocent and naive. I was plied with a lot of alcohol, far more alcohol than I was used to drinking or could tolerate at the time, and stumbled my way home. Being that I was so drunk, I forgot to lock my door. So the neighbor followed me home and proceeded in coming in and having his way with me. I didn't go to the police. I didn't report it to anyone because I felt like I was to blame. I shouldn't have been there. I was at fault for drinking too much. I knew if I had told my parents that I would have been in trouble because when you're raised by a narcissist, it's very strange because they don't empathize with you, but they often empathize with whoever the person is that you have an issue with. So if I had been bullied or had an altercation or was having difficulty with somebody, it was always, well, what did you do? So I was certainly not safe to communicate what had happened to me to my mother. So I swallowed that down and went through life not ever revealing that information except to some very close friends of mine. The second time I was raped, I was in my 30s and I was a party girl and out at my local disco in Ireland, and I was by myself because I was comfortable going there by myself. And I was at this stage quite tolerant of my alcohol. I was approached by an individual. I was on my first drink, and he asked me out onto the dance floor, and I can only assume he put something in my drink because while I was on the dance floor, this is 10 minutes in to me having one drink, and I buckled down, like I lost all feeling in my body and landed heavy on my knees on the dance floor. And he proceeded to pick me up and say, "It's okay, I'll take you home." And I was getting worse and worse as we were making our way home, and because the drug Rohypnol had been used, and when I got home, I was completely blackout, gone. And I woke up in the morning naked, in discomfort, and it was quite clear what had happened to my body. My body remembered, even though my mind did not. And again, I was not a chance. Am I going to call the police or tell anyone this? I was mortified. I thought people for sure would blame me and label me as, loose and always out, because I did. I was a party girl. I used to go out drinking all of the time and wear sexy clothes, and this was before my marriage, and so I didn't tell anyone. I went into work that night and I was so ill from the Rohypnol withdrawal that I couldn't stand. And I said I had to go home, and they said, "If you go home, you'll lose your job." And I said, "Okay, I guess I lose my job because I have to go home." I didn't communicate to them why I was so ill. They just assumed it was from the drink. So it was a double whammy of being raped and losing my job in one go. And I bring this stuff up tonight because I'm tired of holding the secrets for people who have done bad things. And in light of what is happening with P. Diddy and this network, I thought it's time that we start talking. We start saying the truths. So in keeping with that, as you all know, I have gone through an incredibly difficult last year in after finally going no contact with my ex-husband. And it took me many years to officially escape from a marriage that I had been trying to escape from for a very long time. And a decent human being, when asked for a separation, would grant it and leave the person alone. A not decent human being would continue the cycles of love bombing and hoovering and future faking and manipulation and lying. So I've talked a lot about that, but I haven't talked about the confession. After I had finally managed to get him out of my home, we were in a cycle of extreme hoovering. That means to try to suck somebody back in. At the time, I was also, this is about a year and a half ago. At the time, I was going through extreme Kundalini awakening with a lot of highs and lows in Dark Night of the Soul. And I was desperately seeking anything and everything to try to help me along with that. I was under a delusion that I could somehow manage to turn a bad marriage into a good friendship. Conscious uncoupling. I did a video about that. I don't know if I've since deleted it. I might have done. I might have gone back and deleted that video. I can't recall. But that was my intention. My intention was to bring something that was dysfunctional and turn it into something positive. Because I wasn't aware of the extent of the abuse. And this ties into what I'm talking about, because when you have gone your whole life taking the blame and taking the shame and being distant because of fears of reporting things, you keep everything kind of all contained within you. At the time of my spiritual awakening, I was beginning to channel more and more. It's when I had started doing my oracle reads, and I was getting used to channeling. It's not something that I had been used to before. And the energies that I was channeling a lot was the energies of Archangel Michael. And as I was channeling and communicating to my ex, who was saying to me that he wanted to come back and work on our relationship and put things right. And it certainly wasn't me that was prodding him for him to like confess everything. I was channeling while talking to him, and it was Michael, because all of a sudden I'm saying things from the Bible that I don't know, because I wasn't raised with the Bible. So I don't know if it was Michael or the Bible or what, but I was pushing him to confess what he had done in our relationship so that we could have the awareness to put things right. I was seeing in my mind's eye that something was amiss finally. My ability to see the situation, my intuition was coming online. It was very confusing and overwhelming. He proceeded in confessing to having the whole marriage be a lie, that he was in love with somebody else. He confessed to cheating, which made no sense to me whatsoever, because I had previously offered him an open marriage in which he was like, no, I would never do that. I want to stay loyal to you. I had been secretly hoping that he was going to go, have an affair and fall in love with somebody else if I opened the door and let him go, but because I could never get rid of him. So the cheating doesn't even bother me. But having the whole marriage be a lie certainly did. He confessed to lies, manipulation, gaslighting, triangulation, financial abuse, the whole gamut. Then he went on to confess more. And what he confessed broke my brain. There's no other way to say it. He confessed to the molestation of 3 children when he was young. To find out that you are married to a monster, I had a nervous breakdown that he used to his advantage to manipulate me further. Those 6 months between him, it was 4 months, those 4 months between him telling me when my brain broke. My brain broke. I don't have any recollection of videos that I did along that stretch. I know I was making some videos that summer, and I was so disassociated from what he said, it was like it didn't even exist. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. My brain like split into two realities. I was experiencing extreme psychosis, extreme paranoia, extreme anxiety and panic, and because I couldn't take this information in and process it. I deeply regret those 4 months because he was here all the time in my face, trying to be Mr. Nice Guy and trying to help me because as I said, I was completely broken. And so I still have carried with me shame for that stretch of time. It wasn't until I caught him in another lie that I went no contact. And from that point on, I was able to start putting my brain back together and start processing through these truths that were so vile I was terrified because I had this information that I felt was ethically and morally reprehensible. And I had to face my own fears again of dealing with authority and knowing the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. And it took me a very long time to process through. So come February or January, I'm not even sure which, February, I believe February of this year, I finally phoned the police to provide them with this written confession that I had. And that phone call was without question the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. But I sent them a copy of the confession, and from what I know, nothing is going to happen because it's a historical case. And unless his victims, there were 3, want to pursue anything, the case will go unheard, brought to court. But I know I did the right thing, even though it scared the crap out of me. And I had been carrying so much shame having this information and not doing anything with it. But that's not my shame to carry, which is kind of the point of what I wanted to talk about, is that our society is set up to make victims of sexual assaults feel shameful. It is further exceptionally difficult if you do go to a police and report to have the matter brought to justice, and further even more difficult to get a conviction. So, in light of the darkness starting to be exposed, in light of truths finally surfacing, I think that this should be a trend moving forward, where we call out the bad behavior of those that we've been harboring and protecting for years, decades. And it's not fair of me to sit on the sidelines and watch other heroic people stand up and call lawyers and go to the police and face terrifying, powerful people if I myself don't stand up and do the same things. These people that are coming forward now, these individuals in the United States that are saying, this stuff happened to me and I'm coming forward and I'm reporting it, are the heroes that I wish I always was, that I wish I could have been back when I was 16, back when I was in my 30s. And so now, in my 50s, I am not going to be silenced. And I don't think the time for silence is what's in store for our future. I think moving into the age of Aquarius, which is what is happening now, it's time that the dark gets exposed. It's time that we speak out. It's time that we give back the shame and put it where it belongs. There are far too many people that I have known in my lifetime that have experienced sexual abuse, molestation, sexual harassment, date rape. I know too many people that have a story. So if this is something that you have experienced in your own life, you are not alone. And you don't need to be frightened anymore. The more of us that come together as a community and hold each other up and face our fears and face all of the emotions that we've been holding trapped within us from all these traumas, generation after generation of traumas and abuses. The time for silence is gone. I am sending you all of my love. If you need some help dealing with any of these issues that this could have brought up for you, and you would like to book a one-on-one with me, the way to do that is in the description below. All of my services are donation-based. I can hold space for you while you process through these deep and painful wounds. I understand them from the grief of looking back at the life that you wish you had but didn't. I can look and hold space for you as you process through the sacred rage that needs to come up as we stand in our power and say no more. No more. I'm not going to be frightened anymore. I really appreciate all the comments and the support that I've gotten on this channel. Together, we are warriors and we will rise. Peace out.